Ms. Patten.
Thank you, President. My question is for the Attorney-General. The PAEC inquiry into the Victorian Government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic found 39,985 fines had been issued to people in Victoria for breaches of the COVID-19 rules. 2,806 of those have been paid in full. 4,869 were withdrawn. How many unpaid COVID fines issued have now been converted to criminal charges?
Attorney General.
Thank you, President, for... Sorry. Thank you, President, and I thank Ms Patten for her question. A little bit of a crossover between Minister for Police and Emergency Services, given Victoria Police are responsible for issuing of fines in relation to the COVID rules. I would just take issue with the last part of your question, in that it is not the process. There's no process. The process doesn't convert a fine into a criminal charge. It remains an infringement, and it can then result into a warrant or other processes to be able to be enforced. I guess I know some issues that you may be interested in as well, is that other processes for people to pay off unpaid fines, which I'm sure is a matter of interest to you and perhaps other people in this House. There are multiple initiatives to support particularly vulnerable Victorians to deal with fines. There's a work and development permit where vulnerable people can work off their fines, a family violence scheme allowing survivors of family violence to resolve their fines, and then there's the prison program, which supports anyone in prison to deal with their fines, so that then when they're released from prison they've got a clean slate, and helps to avoid reoffending. So in relation to the numbers, that's probably more a matter for the Minister for Police. There will be some that's potentially registered with the Fines Department, and I'll seek some advice on if I can get some better numbers for you.
Ms. Patten on a supplementary.
Thank you, Attorney General, and thank you, Attorney. And in formulating this question, we did seek some information from the Minister of Police and were directed to you. So it is those blurred lines that we have been talking about all week. Now, the Infringements Working Group briefing paper by the Federation of Community Legal Services found numerous cases of children as young as 15 receiving multiple fines worth up to $15,000. Many of these kids are from culturally diverse and low socioeconomic backgrounds with no ability to pay off these fines. Given the Children's Court cannot enforce these fines, as they're many times higher than what is enforceable in that court, will the government waive current COVID fines issued to children on the grounds of hardship or unfairness?
General.
Thank you, President, and I thank Ms Patten for her supplementary question. And coming back to the issuing of the fines, Victoria Police have a lot of discretion in relation to that, and obviously that is available for them to exercise in relation to issuing fines to young people. We certainly know that it's been an incredibly difficult time for many Victorians, particularly those that are vulnerable, which is why we have provided flexible options for people to repay their fines, and this extends to young people. Fines issued, as you've identified, fines issued to people under the age of 18 are not registered with Fines Victoria. They remain a matter for Victoria Police. And as you've pointed out, the CLCs have written to us and seek some further advice and some wanting to be involved in whether there can be some internal reviews of practices to see what we can do to make sure that this just doesn't become a burden on young people's history. But what we want to do is make sure that we can work through those issues, but I can update the House that internal review by the issuing enforcement agency is underway, and I'll awaiting further advice from that review.